Hello, welcome to Portal to Your Powers. This is a place where we bring you tips, tricks, hints, little things that have helped us along the way as we are stepping into our superpowers. I'm your cosmic soul sister, Leah, and today's topic is Ascension Symptoms and what are we supposed to do with them? So I would guess that this topic is becoming more researched as of late, as I feel like people are experiencing these symptoms more and more and more, especially in the year 2020. And I have spent a considerable amount of time this year looking for research into this topic. And it's probably not surprising to you. And although I'm saddened by it, I'm not surprised either. I can't find anything. There's no double-blinded, peer-reviewed articles in a scientific journal that deal with ascension symptoms and their causes or even their solutions. So I have not been able to find anything, but I would ask if anyone is listening to this and they have information, they have studies, I would love, love, love to read them. So I'd be forever grateful if you would send them to me. But at this point, I've been unable to find anything like in the scientific community. So what I wanted to bring you today was mostly downloads from my guides about the situation. Also personal symptoms that I've experienced, close friends and family of mine has experienced, and also other students in the spiritual classes that I'm in are experiencing. I really believe, and my guides have indicated to me, that the reason we are experiencing these symptoms is because we, as a collective, are ascending into 5D. And Earth is going through a place in the universe where there is an extensive amount of high frequency, high intensity light energy as we're passing through a photon belt currently. So this light is being poured down onto the earth plane, and our physical bodies are basically learning how to assimilate it. So we supposedly have junk DNA, what science would term junk DNA. But it is my opinion, and it's been indicated to me by my guides, that it is not at all junk DNA. It is just dormant, for lack of a better word, DNA. And what is happening as we pass through this photon belt is that our bodies and our DNA are being activated in a sense. So this DNA will now become used. It will no longer be dormant. And so it's my belief that we will be able to tap into our superpowers even more, and that it will help us as we are moving into the 5D paradigm. So that is my belief. What are these symptoms, you might ask? Well, a big one is dizziness. Dizziness for no apparent reason. Maybe losing your balance really easily for no reason. Maybe coming from a seated or laying position to a standing position and having massive head rushes more often than you would have. These are things you might notice. Also, a big thing is exhaustion. So whether it's not sleeping well at night, interrupted sleep patterns, fall asleep easy but wake up at 3 a.m. and can't go back to sleep. Whether it's that, or whether it is on the other end of the spectrum of you can't stop sleeping, like you are exhausted all the time and you have to sleep a lot more than you usually would have. So I would say it would be like exhaustion for no apparent reason, just feeling very run down and lethargic. Another big one for people is ringing in your ears. So I know that there are people that the whole of 2020, they have had white noise in their ears, and it's either very soft or it's very loud and obnoxious, just always ringing in your ears. Changes in vision. Maybe you're seeing more things in your vision, things in your periphery that you haven't before. Maybe a little bit more blurry vision for no reason, unexplained. Also digestive issues, unexplained again. Things like skin rashes are huge. So many people are having strange rashes on their skin that they can't explain. But then they're kind of come and go, and I honestly believe that a lot of them could be attributed to these light frequencies that we're being exposed to. What other things? Those are the big ones that I've personally noticed, and I think a lot of people have talked about. Maybe like nausea too, or just changes in the foods that you want to consume, changes in your palate. So maybe you used to always love meat, and then all of a sudden it's disgusting and you can't eat it anymore. That would be one example. Just lack of appetite. I've heard people have. They just don't feel like they need to eat as much anymore. So those are some of the common ones that I've experienced or have had close friends, family, or people I really trust experience. So what can we do about these symptoms? Well, I've had some really informative downloads from my guides regarding this. And I know for me, I'm going to be working on these things, especially at this point, because I feel like it is very important. In the cosmos, the energies that are happening now for the next couple months, especially with lots of eclipses that are happening, we're heading into the winter solstice, the December 21st event that everyone's kind of talking about in the spiritual community. I just know that the energies in our universe are very heightened during this period. And so I know that these things that my guides have suggested that I do, I know it's very important for me personally to do. And I think that it's really good advice that might help anyone listening to this too. So I just wanted to share it with you today. So the first thing that my guides have suggested is to prioritize going within. And what they mean by that is daily practice of meditation, making that a priority, meditating. Things like spending time alone. We might notice that we're overstimulated by crowds right now, or noise, or just a lot of crazy energies. So it's important to prioritize quiet time when you're by yourself. And it certainly is for me. I can tell a big difference when I have some alone time every day. Oh yes, also the importance of connecting daily with your guidance. So either connecting with your higher self, spending time in prayer, meditation, or spending time communicating with your guides now is more important than ever. I don't know if you could say than ever, but it's a very important time to connect to your higher guidance. So if you can make that a priority, I think that would serve you very well. The second thing is to protect your light. And they've told me this on a number of occasions. And what they mean by that is keeping your vibration high. So that might mean limiting time spent with lower vibration people or lower vibration encounters. Anything that you notice is bringing you down, it might be worth limiting that, especially for the next little bit of time. And very important for me anyway, and maybe a lot of you listening, is eliminating the idea of should. Because if we took should out of our day would be a lot better. Truly. We don't need to do something because we shouldn't do it. You know what I mean? We don't need to do things just because we feel like we have to, or to please someone else. So that was really good advice for me, for my guides. And also important to protect my light is seeking joy. So finding things every single day that brings me joy, trying to find joy in the moment. So it could be appreciating the clouds in the sky. It could be really spending time hanging out with my dog for 5 minutes, instead of just petting the dog and rushing out the door. Like really spend some time connecting with your pets, or spend some time in nature, enjoying the feel of the grass under your feet or the breeze on your face. I mean, really just finding those little moments of joy and doing that often throughout the day will help keep your vibration high. So number 3, care for your nervous system. And they tell me this in my life outside of studying ascension and astrology and gemstones. I also am a power lifter. So I compete at a high level in powerlifting, and my training can sometimes be very, very intense. And my nervous system takes a beating, especially at the end of some of my training blocks. And what I mean by that is fatigue builds up by the end of my block, and I am unable to switch quickly into parasympathetic, which is the rest mode of our nervous system. I find myself living constantly in sympathetic mode, which is fight or flight. So for me to protect my nervous system means adjusting my training slightly so that I'm not ever in those periods of, pushing the envelope so much that I'm unable to be parasympathetic or rest and digest mode. For people maybe that aren't training that hard, I guess, one thing that you could do to care for your nervous system is trying to eliminate the amount of stress in your life. So take things out that are stressful to you. If it's stressful for you to watch the news, don't watch the news. If it's stressful for you to maybe there's a certain friend that you talk to and they just seem to bring a lot of stress to your life, maybe limit your interactions with that friend, or maybe set some boundaries. Say, hey, I can't talk about that with you right now because it's bringing me down. So in order to protect our nervous system, to care for our nervous system, we have to be able to switch into parasympathetic, which is the restful mode. So instead of constantly staying in fight or flight, make a conscious effort to hang out in the restful part of your nervous system. So number 4, my guides have encouraged me to keep my channel clear. And for that, they mean really making an effort to eat high vibrational foods. So a lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables, fresh and organic if possible. Not too much heavy, dense, super high fat, super high saturated fat type of foods. So that's been recommended to me. Also to drink a lot of water. Because for some reason during this time period, our body is requiring more water. So hopefully as fresh water as you possibly can get that's not been treated chemically would be ideal. In the instance that you might feel like you might need a heavy metal detox, that could be something that you look into as well, only if that sounds good to you. I know that it's been helpful for some people I know to spend some time in a heavy metal detox. So also it's been recommended for me to keep my energy field clear. And by that they mean consistent clearing of my energy field. And I do that in meditation personally. I also use sage a lot, or Palo Santo. So I have been, especially during this period, doing a daily saging of my physical body. I also have protective stones, and I'm wearing one right now, that I like to wear. And I also sleep with one. This is tourmaline. This is what I find. Tourmaline and smoky quartz for me personally, absolute godsends, because it does do a lot to transmute any negative energies that might be around. Also, before bed every single night, I have a mantra that I say. I can say it real fast too if you want. And it's basically just to protect me from any negative or denser energies coming into my field as I sleep. So I say, I am a sovereign being of the light, devoted to the light, and I do not consent to any denser energies entering my space. And I fall asleep. And then in the morning when I wake up, when I sage myself, I have another mantra, and I say, I am love, I am light, I am truth, and I do not consent to any negative or dense energies entering my space. So those are some mantras that I like to do for myself very quickly, very clearing of my energetic space. And that's basically just to protect me, especially during this time, from any potential attacks that might come, or just lower vibrations hanging out around me. So the last thing I wanted to share was to honor your body, and that's very important during this time, especially as we're experiencing a lot more physical symptoms. We need to give ourselves permission to rest. And even if we're like, I don't know why I'm so tired, there's no reason I'm tired, I don't need to rest. But the truth is, if your body's telling you to rest, honor it. Rest. It will serve you better in the end. It's going to make sure that all of the other things that I mentioned are going to be a lot easier to do too if you're in a more rested state physically. So something that I've been working on is letting go of all the things in 3D that are necessary. So like my floors don't have to be spotless, and my laundry doesn't always have to be folded in perfect piles. And sometimes I don't cook a big meal for dinner. Sometimes I just throw something together, whatever leftovers I have in the fridge or whatever, just the pressures that we put on ourselves in the 3D. It's really good time to let go of some of those things right now, especially during this period. And just be content with honoring yourself and be okay with that. So all of the things that I've shared with you today, I find very helpful, but I encourage you to use your discernment. So by that I mean, if something feels right to you, use it, take it, great. If it does not feel right to you, it does not resonate with you, and it does not sit well with your inner knowing, please leave it. Please, please, please leave it. That is the most important thing in the world, that we all begin to listen to our own inner knowing, because we're the only ones that know what is best for us deep down inside. We're the only ones that can discern what feels truthful and what doesn't. And one last thing that I might mention to you, especially because we're talking about physical symptoms, is if any of these things are persistent or severe, it would be worthwhile to talk to a medical professional just to rule out anything going on that they might be able to help you with. So if something's seeming to be sticking around or really causing you a lot of suffering, pain, some concern, it would be worth talking to a doctor to rule out anything severe. So I hope that all these tips were helpful to you. Take care, have a great day, and I will see you later.